So in this call, you guys, we're gonna get a little bit down to the nitty gritty. Tyler's got a call in a few minutes, and you know, we all want to get back to dialing. But first, I just want to start by asking, do we have your permission? Me and Tyler have your permission to be honest with you guys. Drop a 1 in the chat if we have your permission to be honest with you guys. And then those that can't, if you stay, you're giving us automatic permission to be honest with you guys. One thing we'll never do is, you know, lie to you guys. And I really just wanted him to get on here and just kind of get down to the nitty gritty, right? Because there's all those things, you know, we want so much for you guys to win. And sometimes we're like, man, if I could just shake something into them, you know, if I could just shake you guys to see what this could be, like what it takes to actually have success, you know, and sometimes, I mean, to a fault, I was talking to Tyler and he's, you know, building a team, and you know, sometimes we want it more than you guys, but I just wanted him to get on here and just kind of give a story of his experience, because we realized it's been officially a year since his first sale was a few days ago, which is fucking crazy. Time flies. But yeah, I just wanted him to get on here, Ty, and just get raw. Like if you could shake something into everyone, like just kind of tell them like something like, dude, like if you just, you know, like, I wish you would just get it. I wish you just understand. What would that be? What would that?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is like, you know, seeing the shift from 12 months ago to today and like where I'm at, the skills that I've developed, who I know now, like what I'm doing today and where I was 12 months ago. Like the largest thing that I can tell all of you guys is the opportunity that we all have is massive. And there is a huge opportunity cost of inaction and not doing anything and playing small and thinking that, you know, well, I'll get to it tomorrow, or man, this, you know, this isn't working. Like it works. It works great. And it works for all of us if we work. Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, you know, like the first thing that I want to say is like, I don't know where we all come from and like what we've all done in the past, but it's so important just to kind of understand like where do we want to be? Like what's a place that you actually want to be? And like for me, like I have it written down somewhere. I write it down every day. I read it every day. Like I'm super conscious of what I want this business to give to me. And I know what I have to do to get it. Right. So like if you have a pen and paper, like write down like where you want to be in 2 years. Like I don't know what it is for you. If it's having a team, a ton of business on your book, like whatever it is, right? And then like start to think about what you're doing today, and is that actually going to compound and get you to where you want to be?
Sorry, I had it on speaker view, so I have to get back out. See people without cameras. Like, what is that guy doing? Is he at like a drive-through? Like, no.
Carnival.
All right, go ahead.
No, but like it's so important to be aware of what we want this business to be for us. And like, you know, I think that some people kind of, they're just like, oh, like, you know, these are the team leaders and they're just, that's who they are. And, you know, they've just kind of been there. But last year when I joined this, like, I just want to give you guys some perspective, like, and I don't want to just like talk about like myself or anything, but like, I didn't have any experience in sales. I didn't know anything about insurance. Like I met Brittany because I heard Brad's podcast, came in, and Brittany was like, hey man, like you're gonna have to buy leads. I was like, man, I'm broke. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get leads. And then like I got leads, and then like I called them and I was like, I think these things are broken because no one's answering. And like, I can't sell any of them. Like, what's the deal? And she's like, no, you just got to buy more leads. Like you got to get back on the phone. You got to get better and like do role play and like practice your script. And that's what I did. And like, I did that. And then some other people who got into the industry, like thought it was going to be easy. They wanted it to be, they wanted, I guess, more reward for their effort. And like, you know, there's someplace else. And I'm here today doing what I'm doing. And there's other people on a completely different path, and they didn't really get anywhere. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the daily actions that we take every single day. Right. So like for me, I'm like, I want to sell a policy every day, and like big picture, I want a team. So like right now, like, yeah, I want to build, like, I want to bring people into the business. So that's another one of my points of focus. So like, I'm sharing the opportunity. I'm talking about it. I'm telling people about it. And I'm trying to explore who's interested in it. And guys, if you do these things consistently inside the business, whatever it is that whatever's going to help guide you to where you want to go, if you do it long enough, it'll just happen like naturally. but most people, I said this the other day on a call, like most people can't see farther in front of their face than, man, people aren't answering the phone. This is annoying. Right. And then it's like, there's so much in this industry, and this industry provides so much. If you can think big picture, if you can play the long game, what's the
Yeah.
compounding effect of the daily decisions that I'm taking and the actions that I have today? Right. So like, I just wanted to, start there, write down on a piece of paper what you want, and then under it, write down 3 things that you can do to be able to actually make that happen. And for most of us, it's sell, recruit, and train. Guys, if I can sell a policy every single day, if I can sell 2 policies every single day, and I can bring on 1 person for 365 days, man, in a year, you're in a pretty good spot. But if I'm just thinking day in and day out, I'm like, man, I sold a policy yesterday and I recruited someone and I still don't have my agency. I'm still not rich. What's wrong? No, we just don't, we're not taking enough action to be able to get the big return, right? So this industry can provide a ton for us, and the input in the industry is directly correlated with the output. So the more that we put into it, the more that it gives to us. And it's a beautiful thing. Like we can create whatever we want here, and you can have no business experience, no experience in any kind of sales, and you can build something very, very special, and you can impact a lot of lives doing it. So that's just kind of the first thing I wanted to say. Brittany, I don't know if you want me to touch on anything or like go into any certain direction. I have some stuff that I can talk about too, but is there anything specific that you wanted me to kind of touch on?
Yeah, no, I love that. Like what do you think? So you're building an agency, so you're kind of getting a front row seat to like, you're like, man, I thought this guy was going to kill it. And then I haven't heard from him in 2 months. Like what happened? Like, what do you think it is that gets people off track?
Yeah, I think that the industry, it sounds sexy, and then you get into it and you're like, okay, there's a little bit of work involved, and you don't really understand what it is until you get in there, right? And I think a lot of people, they're like, I want financial freedom, I want time and money freedom, and like, man, we all do. Like, hey, I want that as well. But I think that most people don't understand that they have to build something to be able to get that, right? So like they think that when they sign up, maybe the expectation is going to be that it's going to be way simple, and there's not going to be I don't know what the expectation is, honestly. It's crazy to me though, because if we all just kind of looked around at what's possible, we would all be on the same page and do the same things every single day. But I think that most people, they don't see the opportunity for what it truly is, and they want it to be easier than it is. And in all reality, in my head, at least, like when I think about dialing and outbound calling, like I have fun with it. Like it's a good time. I know that it's going to take me where I want to go. So every day I'm like, let's go. This is going to be great. Like, I know I'm going in the right direction. Like I get hung up on, doesn't matter. It's a numbers game. I'm going to call the next person. And I think that some people get caught up in that. And they get caught up thinking that they could have signed up to, Andy likes to say, sign up to get free money. Like that's what people think it is sometimes, but like, you got to build something to be able to get the reward, right? And we're all after that financial and time freedom. And this industry has the ability to provide it for us.
I love that. And so, this call was kind of like, don't play it safe. So what is your thought process on like people who aren't going all in and they're not giving it all they've got? Like to me personally, I'm like, dude, it's like this business is too stressful to play it half-assed, right? And to like really to play it safe. It's like too stressful of a business. I mean, the reward and what you can get out of it is huge, but like to only have like one pinky toe, stepped in, like I don't think it's worth it. So I know you just had that call. Did anyone watch that call that Tyler dropped with the 5 steps to get you to the next level? Talk about those a little bit more. I know you say, it's staying plugged in. Why do you think? So I've noticed personally that the people that kind of go rogue, right? They go rogue. They're like, you never hear from them. They do their own thing. They never want to get on dials. They never want to get on training. Like those are the people that really struggle with this a lot more. And they like literally don't make it, right? The people that do stay plugged in and get on the calls and the trainings and on live dials, they have like a way better opportunity to make it. What does staying plugged in mean to you? What does that look like for you?
Staying plugged in is everything. And here's why. Because if I learn something today and I talk about it on training tomorrow, like we talked about it last night a little bit, Brittany, and it's like, you don't have to step on that landmine to learn that lesson, right? So like I can learn things and there's so much to learn. I'm still learning, you're still learning, like everybody in the industry, there's more levels and there's higher, like there's always a different game that we're playing at each level. And I think that when you stay plugged in, not only is there a little bit more accountability and you feel more a part of it and it's way more fun, but you get to experience some of the things, you get to learn some of the things that other people have to experience and go through on their own without having to go through it. And you can shortcut that learning curve. And when I think back to last year, I think that's the one thing that I did better than most people. Like, I think that I didn't miss any calls. You know, I was in college for a little bit and I was on calls on the bus, like going to away games and doing all this stuff. And I was trying my best to be on everything because I was like, I want all the information, like give it to me because I want to learn as fast as possible. And I was, willing and I knew that I didn't know everything going into it. So I wanted the people who did know to teach me so I could learn faster.
Right. I mean, that's the one thing is like, like I always say, like, you can be rich or you can be right, like, I mean, ideally we want both, but dude, sometimes like, I don't need to get credit for things, right? It doesn't have to be my idea, dude. Like, I'm just going to copy the people that's already fucking done it, maybe add my own little flair into it, but I'm not going to come into this thinking I know everything or trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, dude, there's people who have already paved the path of success for us. Like, we don't have to veer off and go all the way in the terrain and stuff and get cut up and eaten by a mountain lion. Like, just stay the path. There's success leaves clues. There's already a path that's been laid out for us. Your next one was being open-minded. What is that? What does that mean to you, and how did you implement that in your business?
Yeah, I think being open-minded is really, it stems off of staying plugged in because the new information that you're getting, it's really just staying open to being criticized, like in a constructively criticized, being told new strategies and things and saying things in different situations and what companies to use and just being open-minded to, hey, I don't know everything and I'm going to learn and I'm going to implement this stuff that I'm learning because I don't know more than that person. That person's been here longer than me. So I'm going to take their advice and I'm going to be on live dials and I'm going to be open-minded to getting, like, I want, like, beat me up. Like, what did I do wrong? Because I want it to work. Like, I'm open-minded to learning how to be better because I know that I don't know everything. And I know that someone else knows more than me and can pinpoint why something isn't going right. And I want to just, like, I'm open. Like that's what I mean by that. Like, tear me apart. Tell me what I can do better. I want to win. How do I win? Right? Like, if you know and you're not if you're not open-minded, you're not going to learn as much, right? And there's a huge difference in the people who are actually really open-minded and start implementing these things that are being taught, and the people who are like, no, I got it. Like, I've done sales before, I can figure it out on my own. I'm like,
so what would you say? Like, what would you say to those people that are like, no, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to get on live dials. I don't, what do you say to those people? Are you like, dude, if I can't help you, if you won't even do the basics, the simple steps of getting on live dials, like, what is that? Like, what would you say to those people? Just raw, like, just unfiltered, not politically correct. What would you say to those people?
people are being stupid. They really are, because not only am I on there, you're on there, Mallory's on there, Dominic's on there. Like, even if I wasn't, getting criticized, constructively criticized for the things that I was saying, I can still watch all the people that are actually doing it live do it. Right. And I can hear how they say things. I can watch what they do. I can ask them questions. I can ask, like, Devin asked me the other day if he could jump in a breakout room with me. And I just took a bunch of calls with him and he just watched me and listened to me. Like, that's the stuff that we can do when you're plugged in on live dials, doing it together. Right. So, like, I'm closing off all the opportunity to learn when I do that. If it's possible to do it on your own, like, I don't even think I've seen it done in the industry. Mentors, there's people that are at higher levels that take people under their wing, that show people the way. Everyone's learning from the same, it's like a tree of people that we're all, like, learning from, and we're all plugging in and implementing the things that these people are teaching. And then now we're teaching it. And it's like, we're going to pass these reins down eventually to someone else. And then they're going to start building and start teaching. And, like, that's just what it is, and it's sad to see when most people don't plug in. Cause I'm like, your lifespan, might not be as long as you want it to be because you're not going to be open-minded to learning.
It's just not like I've yet on our team to have anyone who's gone rogue and stuck around. Like, can you think of anyone?
No,
No,
not anybody.
dude, like this business is lonely. We're getting told no all day. It's like, it can be rough. So staying plugged in, hearing Tyler get hung up on, hearing me get hung up on, you're like, oh shit, it's not. Hearing Dayton get hung up on, you're like, oh, it's not just me, you know? And then you're getting feedback. So that's huge too. Like getting feedback, they all kind of coincide and go together, right? But getting feedback is like getting on live dials and unmuting. And I get it. There's baby steps. You're not going to be comfortable doing it. But again, it ties back into like constructive criticism. Like, who are you learning from if you're not getting feedback? That's what blows my mind. Like, if you've never made dials and you've never sold insurance and you're listening back on your calls, like, who are you getting feedback from? Where is your suggestions coming from on how to tweak and adjust and get better? Like, who are you getting that information from? Because if it's from you, you're not going to have success, right? Like, you don't know what you're doing. If you're critiquing your own calls and your own script and stuff, like it's not going to work. And then you said be consistent doing those first three things.
Over and over.
So those are really the core values that you really hold deep, is staying plugged in, being open-minded, doing the getting feedback, getting constructive criticism. And then your last one is have high volume. So what is that high volume? What does that mean to you? What does that look like to you?
Yeah, volume is really, in my head, the amount of time you put into something, the more you can learn from it, right? So the more I do, the more I learn. And that might mean that I suck at it for the first 7, 8, 9, 10 months. But if I don't stop and I continue to do it, man, I'm going to learn a whole lot. Like, I could break even for a month and not make any money, but I've learned so much more. I ask people all the time when they're like 3 weeks into it, a week into it, 2 weeks, 2 days into it. I'm like, don't you feel so much better than you did right when you started before you picked up the phone? They're like, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm like, imagine if you did that over and over and over and over every single day. Like, how would you feel in 30 days? You'd feel amazing. You'd be like, dude, I could pick up the phone. This is nothing. So I always say to people, just have high volume, like have a lot of activity, because the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And I think, the math comes out to, if you do one dial session for 4 hours, 5 days a week, for a month, I think it's like 96 hours or something. And then if you do 2 dial sessions for 5 days for every week of a month, it's like 190 hours. And then if you do it for 3, it's like 286 hours. Right? So if you do 3 dial sessions, it's 3 times as much as if you did 1 dial session every single day. Well, think about this. If I needed to get 30 presentations to learn everything that I needed to know to be able to be successful in this business, wouldn't I want those to come in as fast as possible? Wouldn't I want to get those out of the way as fast as possible? I wouldn't want it to take 365 days, because if it took 365 days, that's so much longer. I need to learn the second level of the game by then. Like, I want to learn the first level as fast as possible. Cool, got my 30. Now, what do I have to do? Now, how do I sell more? Now, how do I sell every single time I pick up the phone? How do I sell every single dial session? How do I start building my own team? Like, how do I get to these next levels of the game by, like, you have to do level 1 to get to level 2, right? So by getting as much experience in a short amount of time, so you can learn enough to get to level 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5, and then start playing the bigger picture game, is kind of what I mean by high volume.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just moving with a sense of urgency. A lot of people, I don't know, and you've talked about it a couple of times, like, I don't know if like people need to be rock bottom, if their back has to be against the wall, because a lot of people come in and they're part-time and they have their jobs, but they came into it here because they hate their jobs, right? They're like not happy with something in their life, which is why they got into this business. But they take it slow. They're not playing with a sense of urgency. There's people, 6 months, 8 months, a year in, and you're like, dude, you should be 10 steps ahead. Why are you still at the same spot of the person that just started 30 days ago? Why haven't you hit 20, 30K? And I think, I don't know where that disconnect comes from. I mean, even just being able to build a team is a game changer, having your team built under you, and all you have to do is 20K, 30K. and you're not like running as fast as possible to get to that. And I was on a call with Jamie Cheerio. I don't know if you know him, but he was just talking about like keeping score, like knowing the records. Like Michael Jordan wasn't playing basketball and didn't know what the score was at the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left in the game. Like, do you guys know what the score is? Are you keeping track? Are you playing intentional? So what would you say about what would you say to the person who's 30 days in and the person that's 6 months in? Like what would you tell them? Like if they haven't leveled up and they haven't gotten to level 2, what would you tell them today?
I would, for both of them, say, the one thing that I truly wish everyone saw inside this industry was how huge the opportunity is. Because not only for like relationships and like going forward, like the people that you're going to meet and how amazing and fun it is, but we all have the opportunity to get a team built under us. And there's nothing like that in the industry. And last year we were like racing. There was a couple of us that were like, I want that. I freaking want that. And I'm going to do what I need to do to get there.
And you won.
And yeah.
You won.
And it's like, but it's crazy to me because anybody can do it. We all have the same opportunity. And even if you started today, and that's why I say like these 12-month, like these 2-year goals, like pick, like just be like, I'm going to get there in 12 months. Like that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper. I'm going to look at it every single day. Like that's where I want to be. And I'm going to do these things every single day to get there. Days that I don't feel like doing it, I'm still going to do it. Days that I like the reward is too big to screw around right now. Like it is urgent. You should play fast. Like you should be getting intense. Like, because it is not a normal thing. It's not a normal opportunity that we have to be a part of this, really at the ground floor of this company with Brad and Andy and really like where it's going to go. So I think that is so important. And then like, this is something else that I like to say, like, if I could pay you, like, let's just say like 15 grand a month, right? To shovel horse manure, would you do it? 15 grand a month. It's not bad. Probably think about it. 25, 50, 80 grand a month. Would you shovel horse manure? Probably, right? Because it's not about what you're doing. It's about the reward, right? And sometimes you got to do some stuff that you don't want to do to be able to get the reward that you want. And that's just the reality of the situation. And if making dials is shoveling horse manure for you, do it. Give it a year. See how it goes. The opportunity this industry literally has created the most millionaires out of any other industry on the planet. And the money inside the space is bizarre. So I think that, if we're in it for financial reasons, we're all in the right place. It's just really, what are we going to do with the opportunity now that we all have it?
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that analogy for sure. Like, like $15,000 is a lot of money, and we don't have to go and shovel horse manure. We do have to go through a bunch of no's and getting hung up on the phone, but most of us are in heated houses and hanging out, and you got a clean bathroom right next door and the kitchen 10 feet away. Like this isn't a bad gig. we're not shoveling horse manure. I lost my train of thought there, but no, I love that, man. Like just playing what aren't you willing to do? And that's what I was going to ask you. So I think a lot of the problem too is like not having that instant gratification. Like you said, people come in here, they think they're going to get rich overnight. So what do you say to that person that's like struggling, which you did, $5,000, 2 months, no sale, like that person that like maybe they can't see the bigger picture. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel because things are just like they're kind of stuck in this rut. Like what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I would say, it might feel like the world's kind of caving in on you and you have some crazy stress or frustrations or whatever. And that's a part of it. And you're learning more skills by going through that than you would be if you had overnight success. And it's going to be better because of that. And then I like to think about it as just the more that you go through, the more that you learn anyway. And it's like a video game. It's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, I don't know. I always thought about it like, it's just like trying to get to the next level of the video game. And like, whether you like video games or not, you can use anything like the sports or playing with Barbies. Like, I don't know, but like, it's like, why get don't get super stressed out about it. Like you still want the result, right? Like most people have the same life next year that they had this year. Don't be most people. Like, start to build something that's going to be able to provide you with more. Like, what's the alternative? Are you going to go back to your old job? Because think about the amount of time and effort that you've put into this already. Are you willing to walk away from that knowing that it was wasted? Or are you going to use all that stuff that you've learned so far to be able to implement new decisions, better decisions, and more effective decisions now that you're so much more educated? I tell people all the time, it's a good thing that you've gone through all the stuff that you've gone through, because now you know more.
Yeah, no, I've always said, like, you know, the person that comes out swinging out the gate, having success always like worries me, because, you know, they got, you know, lucky, beginner's luck, whatever you want to call it. But when it gets hard, man, those are the people that cave. But those people that really make it through that grit, they make it through the shit and stuff up front, they end up having way more success because they built that tough skin, like Brad says, and they built that resilience, which is important in this business, because there's every level, right? Like, you're like, oh, like, let me combat just being able to pick up the phone. And then you get now like dialing ain't shit. And then it's like, oh, chargebacks. Now I got to deal with chargebacks. And then you're like, nope, chargebacks aren't nothing, you know, like, it's these levels that you have to be this built this resilience from. And what people don't realize is, like, the things that you're going through today aren't necessarily going to reflect in 30 or 60 days, right? You're not going to see those instant gratifications. It's like going to the gym. Like, you know, you got to do that shit consistently without seeing any results. But what you're really building is what your business is going to look like in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months down the line. Like, that's really what this is preparing you for, is the long game and the long run, and, you know, how things are going to look and stuff further down. So do you have a couple minutes, man, or you got to go?
I'm supposed to jump on this Zoom. But if you have another question, I'll totally hit another one. But then
No, I was just going to see if anyone had any questions or anything before we let Tyler go.
Nah, I appreciate you, T-Dog, man. Always dropping that fire advice, man. Love it.
There he's my man.
But yeah, man, like, I'm excited, and I appreciate you. And if yeah, if anything, you guys, like, just play with urgency. You know, this time isn't always going to be here. Life isn't guaranteed. You know, what is your life going to look like? What are your ending days going to look like? What impact are you going to have on this world? And you know, playing it slow isn't going to get you to the top. Playing it safe isn't going to get you to the top. It's not going to make you a millionaire. It's not going to build you this massive business. It's not going to get you where you want to go. And it's scary, and it's going to suck, and you're going to stumble, and you're going to crack your head. And the truth of the matter is how bad do you want it? Do you just kind of want it? Does it just kind of sound good? You know, like, the idea of it sounds good to maybe be rich one day, you know, like, how bad do you want it? And what people don't realize is your life is just one decision away. And all Tyler did was he just made the decision to win. Like, nothing else was on the table. Not a maybe, is this going to work? Not a maybe, am I going to have success? He just made one decision to win, so that even when he was going through the shit, even when he was going through $5,000 dials with no sales, like, it didn't bug him, because he knew what the end game was. And he knew that as long as he kept going, he was going to win. And, you know, that's all you guys got to do, is make that decision to win, make that decision to show up for yourself. Because, you know, if not, you're just going to work for someone else's dreams, who was willing to sacrifice, who was willing to go through the shit, and who was willing to give up a lot to go further. So any last words, brother?
No, that's it. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. It's the end game, and all the crap that you might think that you're going through now, like, make it worth it, you know, because if not, what are you going to do? Go back to the old job, right? You know, so I always tell people it's only worth it if you make it worth it. And some people come in and they really do truly see that, and they start to take those next steps to be able to implement some new decisions back into their business. And now they're more educated, and, you know, they're smarter because of it. And some people leave, and it's sad to see, because you can have no experience, you can have no education, you can have, you know, I didn't finish school. I don't know sales. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't even know you could sell insurance on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, now we're just leveling up, and anybody can do it. It's so true. You just got to be willing to do the work to be able to get there.
And I know, really quick, I know you had said you kind of reached out to like 5 guys and was like, hey, are you committed? Are you into this? What was that conversation that you had with those people? You were like, dude, I'm going to take you under my wing, and we're going to fucking write this thing. Like, what was that conversation? What commitment did you get from them?
Yeah, I basically just said, you know, we're sitting around, and it's we're going into 2024. Like, what does your life look like? Where do you want to be? What are your goals, man? Like, do you want Like, are you willing to go through this, like good and bad days? Like when it gets hard, maybe you have chargebacks, like maybe something, you know, you're not having a great day. You still willing to do the work? Like, do you want it that bad? And, you know, I talked to a bunch of people and some people were like, yeah, you know, maybe like, we'll see. I'm like, you know, I just want to play with the people that want to be here. So, and I know that a lot of people, you know, might figure it out 3 months down the road or 4 months down the road and be like, man, I do want to be here. But like me, like I'm all in. So I want to be here long term. And the people that want to be here long term, I want to do it with them because it's fun. And it is it's a great time. And, you know, the business has so much to offer, like I said. So I'm just excited for, you know, the people who do want to be committed here.
I love it, man. And they went out there and cranked out some high premium 1 week, those guys. So I'm extremely excited for you guys. I'm excited the new training we're going to be implementing and being more involved in stuff on the trainings and stuff that we're doing now. So all of these calls should be saved in your guys' calendar. Like, I don't care if you miss dinner with the kids. I don't care if you got to watch this at your son's basketball game. Like, stay plugged in, which was Tyler's #1 rule. Stay plugged into these calls, be open-minded to learning and getting positive feedback, do the work and get feedback, be consistent and do those things over and over and over again until you crush it and have high volume. So I appreciate you guys. Let me know if there's anything you need from me. Tyler's always just a text, phone call, Facebook Messenger, Instagram away if you ever have any questions for him. And let's not play it safe. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Talk soon. Peace.
See ya.
Thank you.